We've just got back to the boat from our time in Sweden. We've seen family and friends, and we also took a road trip around our region in southern Sweden to look at Viking history. Now we're going to start one of our biggest projects so far on the boat. An overhaul of the engine while still living aboard. Some of the issues we've had are a blow-by on one of the injector sleeves. The injectors have been performing poorly, and we've had a suspicion of leaking valve seats and seals. We'll also do something about the general appearance of the engine. Right now it looks kind of sad and run down.
First thing to do was to disassemble the external parts from the engine, so I could access the cylinder head and remove it. Ron's engine is a Volvo Penta 2003T from 1987. It's a 44 horsepower 3-cylinder turbo diesel.
So I'm lifting out the push rods now, and it's a bit important that the lifters don't follow these up, because then it can be a bit of a hassle to get them in place again. But so far I've been lucky. These push rods, they go against the camshaft down here. And the camshaft is like a lobe, you say that in English. And that lobe makes them go up and down to control the valve train up here, or the valves for the exhaust and the inlet. So it's an important part of the machinery. I guess more modern engines, they have the camshafts on top up here, so you don't need these long push rods, because I guess when you have high RPM engines, this could be a weak part of an engine like that. But on a diesel like this, it's fine. The next part of this operation is to remove these bolts on top here, and then we can remove the whole cylinder head, which is this part here on the top. Heavy. Oh, okay. Interesting, huh? It looks like these two cylinders doesn't have as clean burn as this one. So I guess the reason for the engine smoking as it does is in these two cylinders. Probably because of the injectors, but we'll see.
This is our new pantry.
Yeah.
And here is the old pantry.
Yeah.
Table. And then we have things here.
The head gasket looked okay, and I couldn't see any signs of leaks. The head gasket is preventing the cylinder compression from leaking out into the cooling system, and vice versa. Finally, the injectors are out. Was quite a lot of work to get them out from the cylinder head, and you can see that there's carbon buildup. So probably there's been leaking pressure on all of them. Yeah, between the wall and the injector here. So we're going to leave. Yeah, well, there's 3 injectors, so we're going to leave them for service. So the pattern, the angle on the spray here is correct, and also the amount of pressure that when it releases the diesel. So we're going to service these, and then probably on the head, on the cylinder head, we need to replace. There's a pipe where this sits in, a copper pipe, and those have been moved now when I pull these injectors out. So I think we're going to replace them as well, just to be sure. So it's Monday, and we're going to leave the injectors for service today. I suspect that maybe they're dripping or something like that.
Okay.
I'm not sure, so I just
we'll
want to
test and advise. Yeah.
See
what they're looking for.
Now the injectors are in for service, and they told us that they're going to call us this afternoon. So hopefully they will service them already today. So I ordered all the parts for the engine. They told me that it will take about a week to get them here. The warehouse is down in Texas. So they're going to give me a call back later today with the price and precise day when the parts will arrive here. But that's fine, because there's a lot of other stuff that we need to do with the motor before we can put it back together.
So convenient. Order from Amazon and you get it delivered here to Betty. You just open it up with a code. It's great.
So now we have the cylinder head here, and I'm going to remove the valves. There is one for the exhaust and one for the air. And the reason that I wanted to remove the valves is that there's carbon buildup behind here. And I suspect that some of the exhaust valves, they leak compression. So I'm going to lap them, I think it's called in English, to make them sit better so they're completely sealed. And I also want to have a look behind here and see if there's a lot of carbon buildup and maybe clean that out. This cylinder head is made out of cast iron. It's super heavy. Probably weighs around, I don't know, 20 kilos, 40 pounds or something like that. So to remove the springs here, so I can take out the valves, I need this tool. So I can compress the springs here, so I can get these retainers off, and then hopefully I can get the spring off and I can let the valve out on the other side here. It's a good idea to have safety glasses on, in case the spring slips off the tool. I'm using a magnet to collect the small spring retainers. To make it easier to remember where each spring, valve and push rod goes, I made a cardboard stand. It's important to have every piece going back in their original place. So you can really see on the valve seat here that there's probably some leakage through here. There are some small carbon deposits on the sealing surface here, and some small pits in the metal as well. So that's what I'm hoping to grind down now with this tool, together with this paste, to get the valve to seat more tight, or more it should really be airtight when the valve is in here. So that's the goal with this lapping of the valves against the seats. I found this copy of a workshop manual online, and all the numbers for the engine is in here, and there's supposed to be a measurement for the springs. Length unloaded like this, 42.5 millimeters. Yeah, 42.5. So this one seems to be correct. There is a tolerance of... Oh, there is no tolerance. I don't know.
After removing all the valves and springs, I started cleaning the valve seats. Then I continued with the valve stems. There was a lot of carbon buildup, especially on the intake valves. I use a brass wire brush and then follow up with a plastic brush and a Scotch-Brite to finish off. I put some oil on the stem and make sure not to get grinding paste anywhere except on the sealing surface.
What I'm trying to do here is to get this shiny pitted surface that we had on the valves before to be dull instead, and even. So you can really tell the difference here if I take another valve. We compare them like this. So this valve I have lapped, and this one I have done nothing with, just cleaned it. And you can see that this surface here is really shiny, and this one is dull and even. So it sits really good in the valve seats now. So this one will not leak, as this probably does a little bit. It's really uneven, shiny, and a bit pitted. There's some really uneven surface. This made a really big difference. Some of them were quite hard to get out all the pits in the valves, but now all the seats looks really even, and also the valves. So I actually think this is going to make a big difference, because they didn't look very well.
This is what it looks like when one is working on the bolt and the other one is trying to work on the computer.
We've been experiencing a small leak from the raw water intake pump for a while. We actually changed the seals in the pump a while back, but the leak came back, so I suspect that the bearings might be failing. I decided to change both bearings and put new seals in once again to see if this would solve the problem.
What's the progress today?
Not much. I got injectors this morning, so they are ready. But we can't install them in the cylinder head yet because we need these copper sleeves, and I'm still waiting for those. And also there's a special tool to install those sleeves, and we're waiting for that too. So today I have been cleaning the engine a bit, cleaning away the old head gasket here, and also some deposits, carbon deposits on the pistons. Oops.
Another thing to add to the list.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching the first episode out of 3 of our engine service series. Write a comment and let us know what your experience of major bolt repairs have been like. Stay tuned for the next episode and don't forget to subscribe.